So I've heard several people in the comments section below say that Windows 11 is just too hard to set up because of all the tweaking and debloating that has to be done. Well, today I'm going to show you how easy it actually is. Stay tuned. So nobody wants to run a default install of Windows 11. And to be honest with you, I don't blame you. I don't either. And I typically go through and clean up Windows 11 when I set it up for a customer. But it doesn't take a lot of time. That's primarily because I don't heavily debloat systems. In fact, I don't recommend heavily debloating Windows 11 anyway, because it causes compatibility and reliability issues down the line. My setups are typically relatively conservative because ultimately my goal is to make Windows 11 as reliable as possible without the annoyances. So I'm going to show you all the steps that I take to achieve this. But first, I got to pay some bills. So check out today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by VIP SCD Key. Building a new PC right now isn't cheap. The cost of DDR5 and even SSDs is enough to break your budget. Why let an overpriced Windows license eat into your hardware fund? Instead of paying retail price, you should check out today's sponsor, VIP SCD Key, where you can pick up a valid Windows 11 license for around 20 bucks. Just go to the link in the description below and pick up a valid Windows 11 license key. During checkout, use the code CyberCPU for a 25% discount. Once you have your key, go to your activation settings in Windows 11 and click the link that says Change Product Key. Enter the product key you just purchased and hit Activate. Get a fully activated Windows 11 today without the sticker shock of retail prices. And check out their deals on Office as well. Now, back to the video. So I've said many times that Windows 11 is nowhere near as bad as it used to be. That statement is true. When Windows 11 was first released, I had to constantly troubleshoot problems that customers had with it. But that's simply not the case anymore. Most of the problems that we suffer from today are honestly self-inflicted by Microsoft. But luckily, most of the backlash that Microsoft has gotten, a lot of it's kind of toned down. But there's definitely still some work to be done, but that work is nowhere near as complicated as many people make it out to be. So let's jump on the system and I'll show you how to do it. Okay, so this is a fresh install of Windows 11 that's completely default. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click on Task Manager right here, just so we can kind of get an idea of the resources that we're using. So we're going to go ahead and click on this little link right here so we can get over to our memory tab. Primarily memory is what we're going to be looking at because we're kind of debloating a little bit, I guess you could say. But either way, if you look here, we're using 2.4 gigabytes of memory. This is actually more than I'd expect. Usually it's been closer to about 2.2 gigabytes normally. I've seen it as low as 1.9, but it kind of varies here and there, but also has a lot to do with how Windows caches memory usage and things like that. But either way, once we look right here, it's 2.4 gigabytes. I don't know what it's going to be once we get the system all cleaned up, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be lower than this. But it might not be as low as you might think. But either way, we're going to go ahead and close this. Now, the first thing that I do when I set up Windows 11 is get rid of the apps that I don't want on it. So I start out with, and what you're going to have to do is because of the stupid categories view, I usually set this down to list right here so you can actually see what's installed. But I typically go through the pinned icons first. Outlook, I'll always uninstall the built-in Outlook because Microsoft, for some reason, calls the free email program Outlook as well as the other Outlook. And the only difference is this little triangle on top of the icon right here. So it confuses tons of people when they have Office installed. So I'll usually just take it and uninstall it right off the bat. And then also any kind of default pins like the LinkedIn, yeah, that of course I get rid of. And this is fairly easy to just kind of go through the list and uninstall the stuff you don't want, like Microsoft 365 Copilot. We can uninstall that. I also get rid of Clipchamp because it's just an AI-infused video editor, so I usually get rid of that. And I'll also get rid of OneDrive. And if you right-click on OneDrive and you go to uninstall, you got to do that from the app section right here. But you scroll down to OneDrive and you can go ahead and uninstall it just like that. And then once that finishes, you can go back and you can close this and then go through the rest of the list. And then from here, as we scroll down this list, we just kind of look for stuff that we don't want on the system anymore. And that's about good for now. But in order to uninstall something, all you have to do is go to the thing, right click, and then select uninstall from the list, and it'll uninstall it. Now, at this point, there is a chance that some of these apps that you're currently removing will come back. Unfortunately, this is just the way Microsoft's provisioning system works. And you know what? I've complained about this many times, and I think it's a very legitimate gripe in Windows 11. But I've also noticed that this problem seems to be worse on Home Edition than it is on Pro. So if this really annoys you, then it might be a good excuse to upgrade to your Windows Edition from Home to Pro. Luckily, you can do that fairly easily following the link to my sponsor down in the description. Windows Home Edition can easily be upgraded to Windows Pro without reloading Windows. And the other benefit about being on Windows 11 Pro is that you have access to the group policy editor, as well as several other features that we're not going to get in today because that's really not what the point of this video is. But I do highly recommend running Windows 11 Pro instead of Home. It'll at least alleviate some of these problems. But now that we've removed the apps that we don't want, let's jump back on the system and we'll go further. Now, a lot of this stuff I'm sure you already knew about. It's easy just to uninstall apps. And then the next step is probably just as easy. But typically I go through and I go into the taskbar settings. The first thing I do is essentially turn off all of this garbage right here and minimize the amount of garbage that's on the taskbar itself. And often I will also unpin the Microsoft Edge icon and I'll get rid of the store as well. And while we're at it, we can go ahead and delete the icon sitting on the desktop for Edge. And another thing that I really like to do is if you come down here, I like to open up Windows Security. And for some reason, Microsoft has all of these triangles, like these absolute critical things that you need to deal with. And in reality, it's just BS. So I go through and hit dismiss on all of these right here and turn off the errors for those so that way at least Windows Security isn't showing an error. And I do this mostly for the benefit of customers because I don't want to go deliver a computer that has a bunch of errors inside of the security software that ultimately just turns out to be marketing for your Microsoft account. So once we do that, we're good. Also, I don't like using Windows Edge. Some people do, some people don't. What I use is Brave. So I'll usually install that now. And to do that, it's fairly easy. Just go ahead and open up your command prompt. You don't want to open it up as administrator, just open it up as a standard user and then type in winget install brave -- source winget, if you can spell it right. And then go ahead and hit enter. And then it'll install Winget from Winget. It's going to take a second to install, but once it does, we'll move on to the next step. Okay, and here we go. Brave is now installed. We can go ahead and close our command prompt, and we'll go ahead and launch Brave and set it up real quick. So with Brave right here, what I typically do is I usually obviously set it as the default browser, and hopefully it stays that way for a while and Edge doesn't take over the defaults, which honestly, Microsoft, we know it's not an accident. We know you do it on purpose. It'd be nice if you stopped that. That's another legitimate gripe with Windows 11 is that you constantly have to set your default browser. But once we go here, we don't need to import any settings because this is a fresh install, so we can hit skip, maybe later. I usually uncheck these and hit finish. And then from here, I'll typically go through and I'll turn off the show new tabs ad. So it'll actually start displaying ads as the background on your new tabs page. And I don't like that, so I'll turn that off right here. And then we go to cards, and I usually uncheck all the cards. If you want to, you can probably leave like the Brave stats card up. So if you want to know, all the stats about Brave itself, or you could turn them all off. And I typically go to search, and I go ahead and with search, I'll usually enable Google and Start Page. And I typically use Start Page as my default, but when I'm setting up a customer system, sometimes they want access to Google too. So I'll go ahead and check them both. And then from here, I'll go in and I'll go into settings. And then from settings, I check this, the open a new tab page, not the continue where you left off. And then I'll go to search engine and I'll change the default search engine over to Start Page as well. And then from here, I go ahead and highlight here and type flags. So you want to go Brave : / flags, enter, and then search for Brave AI. And right here, this first one that says Brave AI chat, I'll usually turn this one off and then go ahead and relaunch Brave. And at this point, it should have turned off all AI within Brave, which is great. And then all that's left is these three little icons here, which you can go ahead and right click and hide, and you'll have a pretty clean install of Brave. And you can also come down here and pin it to the taskbar so that when you close it, it takes the place of what Edge had before. Now, moving on, we're gonna go ahead and kind of start setting up some of the settings in Windows 11 now. So from here, we're gonna go into Settings, and then we're gonna go into Privacy and Security, and then we wanna go into Diagnostic and Feedback. Now, this one right here might be a little controversial. Some people agree with me, some people don't. Now, I don't recommend turning off the required diagnostic data. And honestly, you can't anyway. It's usually turned on anyway. But I highly recommend disabling the optional diagnostic data. Ultimately, the required data is used for Windows Update and used for system stability and stuff like that. I know a lot of people still want to disable it, but I would highly recommend leaving the required data enabled, but I leave it up to you to make that decision for yourself. And then also, I would go back into Privacy and Security, go into Recommendations and Offers, and primarily you want to turn off the personalized offers, this very first one. And you can also go through and turn off all of these if you want all the advertising in Windows 11 to be completely turned off. That's how you do it. And then, while we're in Settings, we're going to go ahead and click on System. We're going to scroll down until we find Recovery right here. And from Recovery, we're going to scroll down to Point in Time Restore. Now, for this one right here, I would click View and Edit, hit yes to the user account control, and then essentially just turn this off and hit the save button. Now, it's not going to stay off for long because what we're turning that off for is so we can enable System Restore. Because believe it or not, Microsoft disables System Restore by default on some systems, not all systems, just some. But to enable it, click on your Start button, type in System Restore. Go ahead and launch this right here, and it gives you this little window. And what you're going to want to do is click on your primary drive here, hit Configure, and just turn it on, just like that. And then go ahead and hit OK, and it should turn on System Restore. You can also click here to create a restore point as well. And I'm just going to call this one CyberCPU, and then hit Create to create a restore point. However, if restore point is enabled, it will automatically create points at certain points in time, like when you install a program or when you do Windows Update, things of that nature. But you can also create them manually. But once we've created it, we can go ahead and hit OK and move on from there. So technically, at this point right here, you can be done. But there's one more optional step that I would highly recommend. Because even though Microsoft has pulled back on AI implementations, if AI in Windows really bothers you, then you can still remove all of it. So let's jump back on the system and we'll do just that. Okay, so I don't do this step with every single computer, but it is a step that I do a lot of times because a lot of people kind of get mad about all the AI that's in Windows. So what you have to do is just open up your browser and search for Remove Windows AI Script. And then it should find it right here on GitHub. I'll go ahead and leave a link in the description below so you can find it. And make sure when you're downloading this, you're downloading this from this developer right here. Don't download any of the mirrors of this unless you know exactly what you're doing. Otherwise, just get it from this guy right here. And then all you're going to do is scroll down. You're going to go to the script right here. You're going to copy that and then open up PowerShell. Run it as administrator. And then all you got to do is paste and hit enter, and it should launch the script. We can go ahead and close our browser here too. And with the script launched, the next things you do is if you don't want the AI to reinstall itself the next time you run an update, then you check these boxes right here. You do check the chance of it messing up Windows Update, but those chances are really slim. But you can always go ahead and flip on backup mode to make sure that you can uninstall it if it does in fact hurt Windows Update. And also, I would highly recommend putting the start menu shortcut as well. And then scrolling down, you can also replace the classic Windows apps here. So I'm going to go ahead and check Photo Viewer, MS Paint, Notepad, and the Legacy Photos app, but I'm going to leave the current Windows 11 snipping tool. And at that point, we're going to go ahead and hit Apply, and it'll give you the option to create a restore point. Now, if you haven't enabled System Restore at this point, it will enable it for you. So if you plan to run this script, you don't actually have to manually enable system restore because it'll do it. But we're going to go ahead and put Windows AI as the name of the restore point that it creates. And then we're going to create another restore point. I guess we could have just done this in the first place and not created the last one. But either way, we're going to hit close, we're going to hit OK, and then we're going to let the script do its thing. And it's going to take a few minutes to run, so I'm going to go ahead and let this script completely finish, and then I'll meet you back here once it's done. Okay, so we're back here in Windows 11 after removing AI, and we're going to go ahead and open up Task Manager here, just so we can kind of see the resources themselves. So as you can see, we're currently using, well, about 2 gigabytes of memory. Now, it isn't a substantial increase from the way it was before, but it is a little bit of an improvement. I'll go ahead and lay a screenshot of what we were getting prior to going through and doing all of this right next to it right here, so you can kind of see the difference, just in case you forget what it was. But it's not that big of a difference. In fact, it's only a few hundred megabytes. Ultimately, as you can see, even after going through this process, you don't save a lot of resources. Because personally, I think Windows has gotten really good at handling resources with or without bloat. Also, your idle memory usage isn't just the stuff that's currently running in the background. Sometimes applications or services can be preloaded in memory because the operating system expects you to use them. So that can contribute to your memory usage, but it's not technically real memory usage because a lot of those cached applications can immediately be removed from memory if the need arises. But as you can see, I don't really do a lot of heavy debloating. I'll get a lot of people in the comments that says, but you didn't do, but you didn't do, and you're right, I didn't. Because like I said before, my goal is a balance between getting rid of the annoying garbage and keeping the system itself stable. Also, aside from removing the remove Windows AI script, everything that we did was just a matter of flipping switches within Windows. I mean, nothing I did was inherently difficult other than when I'm making a video about it. Typically, I can do a lot of this stuff within a couple of minutes. But what I typically don't do is use a lot of invasive scripts or utilities. But that doesn't mean that there isn't value in a lot of utilities that are available. Some of them are actually very good. If you'd like to check out one I recommend, then check out this video here where I show you how to use WinToys to modify Windows further. Also, that tool has implemented the best way that I've found to remove Edge. But as always, you guys have a great day.